Hello and welcome to a special episode of The Australian Runner, a weekly show about running and everything running related. I'm Ben, with me is Chris.
Hi everyone.
This special show is our preview of the Australian National Athletics Championships. Let's get started. With National starting tomorrow, we're going to give a rundown and our thoughts on each event on the program. I'm really excited for this championship. It's going to be a pretty big event.
Yeah, it definitely is one of the biggest ever, because this year it's the first time they decided to run the Australian Junior Championships with the Australian National Open Championships. So they'll be run concurrently up in Sydney from this Sunday, the 26th of March, until the Sunday after, the 2nd of April. There's going to be over 3,500 athletes competing, so just a huge amount of athletes all going to be in the one spot. And it should make it a really big event for the Australian athletics community.
Tons of news. Hopefully we'll get some interesting results as well.
Definitely looking forward to it. No doubt there'll be plenty of surprises along the way. We'll do our best to try and pick out who we think will win and who are to watch out for. But, I mean, most of the races, it's wide open.
So for this show, we're just going to cover the open and senior athletes. But we want to talk about, just at the start, some of the junior athletes that we think you should keep an eye on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so many junior athletes competing. There's several different age groups there. So there'd be just too many events to try and cover in this short episode. So some of those athletes to look out for are Mia Goss, Riley Day, Danielle Shaw, Sarah Billings. A couple of those athletes are vying for international honours. There's the Under-18 World Championships or Commonwealth Championships in the Bahamas later this year. So they'll be trying to qualify for that and press their case.
And another two, we've got Jared Clifford, who's a para-athlete, and also Ned Weatherly, amongst a whole bunch of others as well. It should prove to be a really exciting event for the juniors as well as the open and senior athletes.
Yeah, exactly. As well as the junior and open, they've also got the para athletics from junior as well as national. And a couple of the athletes to look out for are some of those that were at the Nitro Athletics Series. So Ella Party, Scott Reardon, Chad Peris.
And obviously Isis Holt and James Turner as well.
Yeah, fresh from Rio. So hopefully they can continue their good form.
One other thing, there are a couple of big names missing from this Nationals event. A couple of the big ones are Jeff Risley, Brooke Stratton, Jen LaCars. Those three are big ones that are missing.
Yeah, also some of the Olympians, Fabrice Lapierre, Brandon Stark, Jess Thornton, and Madeline Heine Hills. They're all out for a range of different things. Some are choosing just to train through and qualify for Worlds over later in the season. And some of them are out injured or coming on the comeback from injury.
So now we'll get stuck right into it. So we've picked out a couple of events to really watch out for that we think will prove to be some of the most exciting. So Chris, why don't you start?
For the women's, I think the women's 100 metre hurdle should be a great event to watch. You've, of course, got Sally Pearson, who's been battling injury for the last couple of years. Hasn't been running particularly well, but you can never discount a champion like that. And she's up against Michelle Janicki, who went to Rio, performed fairly well over there. She's back this season, running well, and I think it could be a good matchup.
Yeah, and obviously a couple of other good, strong challengers as well. Liz Clay, Brianna Behan, and Abby Taddeo.
Yeah, Brianna Behan just missed Rio last year, and she could definitely press her case for the world champs later in the year. So definitely one to look out for. What about you? What women's event catches your eye as one to watch?
Personally, I'm looking at the women's 1500 metres because we've got all three Rio Olympians. So I'm predicting more of a tactical race, and that really leaves the door open wide for anyone to win.
Yeah, the three Rio Olympians really made their mark after Nationals. Heidi C won. She got the qualify and then she was out injured. So that left the door open for those other girls to storm through. Now you've got Lyndon Hall running 4:01, Jenny Blundell 4:04. And they're really high quality, world-class times. But last year was 1 in 4:14.
Yeah, tactical versus fast. It could go either way.
Exactly.
I'm excited to find out.
Definitely came for that one.
What about a men's event that really catches your eye?
Men's sprinting is back, and the men's 100 metres should be one of the best events of the meet. It's such a deep field with many likely competitors. I mean, you've got nearly 8 good threats that could make the final. You've got like Nick Andrews, Aaron Breslin from WA, Rowan Browning, Jin Soo Young, Jordan Shelley, Aaron Stubbs and Trey Williams. You've got the 2 Victorians that won the state title. You've got Joel B and Will Johns. They were tied in a dead heat. Joel B, he could be a threat if he manages to overcome his hamstring injuries. But then there are the main threats. Josh Clark, he qualified for Aero but then pulled out. And Alex Hartman, last year's winner. So they're the main 2. My money, I think I'm going to go on Hartman. I reckon he can back it up. But what about you? Any thoughts of who could take out the title?
Well, from across the pond, Joseph Miller, he's been in really good form, especially in the Nitro series. And then back in New Zealand, he won their national title and he ran it in a record time. Obviously, he can't win the title, but I think he'd be pushing hard to win this race.
Yeah, and who do you reckon will win the title?
I'm going to have to agree with you. I think Alex Hartman, he's going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah, the only name really missing out of men's athletics is Jack Hale, because he's running the under 20 age group at Nationals this week, not in the Open, so he doesn't get to compete up against the big boys. So that's one that we're both looking forward to, but you're also looking forward to one other event, aren't you, Ben?
Yeah, the men's long jump out in the field. So even though Fabrice Lapierre's out, he's in the States at the moment to train, and he's already been selected for Worlds because he won the Diamond League. So with him out, we can really see the depth of the men's long jumping. So we can really expect some big jumps even without Fabrice there. So Shemaiah James, Liam Adcock and Chris Mitrevsky, they're all well up there. And Darcy Roper, who was at the World Juniors last year, he stands a really good chance, I think, as well.
Yeah, this is a really exciting event for the future. I think all the blokes are about 21 and under, so it's good that they've got all of that similar age group coming together. Hopefully they can push each other. I mean, the winner could jump over 8 metres if the conditions are good, so definitely one to watch out for. My money is on Darcy Roper.
Okay, so now we'll just give a brief look at each of the events on the program. So we'll start off with the women's track events first. So we'll start off with the shortest, women's 100 metres.
Yeah, of course. Melissa Breen. She's a woman to beat. She's won, I think, 6 national titles. She went to Rio. She's in fairly decent form this season. But she's got competition in Toya Whistle, who's been naturalised as an Australian from PNG. Madison Coates won the Victorian state title. Abby Taddeo won the New South Wales title. And Julia Phillips won the WA state title. They're all in the mix, but I think it's really going to be a 2-horse race. Do you have any thoughts?
So Zoe Hobbs from New Zealand, she's really one to watch. There are 10 internationals in this event, so really keep your eye on Zoe. I think she stands a good chance as well.
Yeah, definitely. We'll move along to the 200 metres now, and it's really all about Ella Nelson, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for sure. It would be tough to get anywhere close to her. The biggest competition would probably come from Morgan Mitchell, Toya Whistle, and Melissa Breen.
Yeah, there's a couple of other names from New South Wales, Larissa Paternaski and Gabriella Grady, as well as Madison Coates and Kendra Hubbard from Victoria, but I think they might be a bit further back.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah.
So in the 400 now, so Morgan Mitchell, she's been in great form the whole domestic season, as we saw in the Nitro series last month. So I'd basically be, if I were a betting person, I'd probably put her in for the win. But who else are the major competitors against her?
Well, Annalise Ruby's been named in the 400 metres, or has been entered in the 400. She's just been running 800s this season, so it'll be interesting to see how she goes. She did run the 400 in Rio, so she's come from that 400 background. But I don't know where her form is. And Lauren Wells is running a flat 400. She's obviously a 400 metre hurdler, so it'll be interesting to see how she goes. Moving up to the middle distance events now, and the women's 800 metres could be quite an interesting affair with a lot of intrigue after Keely Small ran that amazing time in Canberra just the other week. There's plenty of names that are in the field, aren't there, Benny?
Zoe Buckman is running in this race as well. Obviously, she's more of a 1500 metre runner, so she could be a bit of a dark horse. She's definitely in the mix. As well as Abby Delamotte, Georgia Griffiths, last year's winner Brittany McGowan. She'd definitely be keen to retain her crown.
Yeah.
Also, there's Annalise Ruby, Laura Story, and Georgia Wassell, who's coming back from injury.
Yeah. Could be one to watch. Again, that tactical nature could be the key. Moving to the hurdles now, and Lauren Wells, I think an absolute shoe-in. She's a 9-time Australian National 400 metres hurdles champion. I can't see anyone beating her.
Yeah, I agree. Very hard to go past. The last track event, given that we've already spoken about the 100 metre hurdles and 1500 metres earlier, is the 10k race walk. So Becky Smith won the event last year, and she might be able to do it again, but the question is if she will be able to beat the World Junior representatives Taylor Page Billington and Clara Smith, as well as Rachel Talent.
Yeah, I agree. I think Becky should win, but the Talent family's got talent, that's for sure.
Ignoring that terrible joke, now we can go to some field events, starting off with high jump. So Eleanor Patterson returns to competition after a very low-key season so far. Tay Clark is doing high jump as one of her 3 events. She's also in long jump and triple jump as well. And Nicola McDermott and Zoe Trimmers, they're also very much in contention to win this event.
Yeah, Eleanor Patterson hasn't really reached any great heights after previous couple of years. Sorry. Okay. To the pole vault now, and it's really an event dominated by those from WA. You've got the Parnov crew with Liz Parnov competing. You've got the World Juniors, Nina Kennedy. You've got Jamie Scroop. But then you've also, in the field, not Australian, but from New Zealand, Eliza McCartney, who won the bronze medal in Rio. She's competing, so definitely keep an eye on her for now and for the future because she's still quite young.
In the long jump, both Rio Olympians Chelsea Yench and Brooke Stratton are missing, so this really leaves it open for a lot wider range of people who could take it out.
Yeah, I mean, Jess Penny was second last year, and she was even ahead of Chelsea Yench, so she's definitely one of the major threats to take it out. As is Nia Nang, who won the competition in Canberra the other week. Tay Clark is jumping really well, jumped a huge PB the other week. And Elizabeth Heading, she competed in Nitro Athletics Series in the long jumps, so watch out for her. She could become a bit of a threat.
In the discus, it's a bit of a one-horse race. Danny Stevens, Danny Samuels, we both think she's definitely the one to beat.
Definitely can't really see her losing with just her consistency of this season, a standout.
And finally, for the women's program, there's the javelin. The javelin really comes down to Kelsey Lee Roberts and Catherine Mitchell. Kim Mickle, who did her ACL playing in the AFLW, is out of contention. So I think it'll be between either Kelsey or Catherine. And Catherine Brooks threw well at the Vic State Champ, so I wouldn't count her out from a podium finish as well.
Yeah, that's all the women's events talked about or analysed now. So now we're on to the men's track events. The 100 metres we already talked about as being a premier event of the whole meet. So we'll jump straight into the 200 metres.
Yeah, so in the 200, Alex Hartman from Rio is the one with the target on his back, but he's definitely up against some stiff competition from Will Johns and Tom Gamble. Michael Romanen is also running as well, and he took out the Vic State title. He's definitely in good form at the moment.
Yeah, he even beat Will Johns in that race, just to show his form. Of course, Joseph Miller from New Zealand, he's also running in that, so he'll be up there. competing for the overall win, not the Australian title. Straight into the next event, the men's 400 metres. Stephen Solomon is back, the London 2012 Olympic finalist. His form's been alright in the previous couple of years. Didn't qualify for Rio. Hasn't raced much. Will be interesting to see how he goes. Luke Stevens was a superb athlete at Nitro. Really set the house on fire, but was beaten by Will Johns at the Vic State titles. So it could be interesting to see who wins out of those two. There's also Daniel Moen and Alex Beck in the field, which are threats for the win.
Alright, on to the 800. We've already spoken about how some other events with some big names being out has really widened up the field, but this one is a bit more even across the board, and it's basically Justin Rinaldi's squad versus the Melbourne Track Club and then versus the rest. So some huge names in this event. We've got Peter Boll, Luke Matthews, Alex Rowe, Mason Cohen, James Gurr, Josh Ralph and Jordan Williams.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I reckon Peter Boll for the win. Just Luke Matthews won last year. Hasn't been the best form, but he's had a stint at Falls, and you never know. He could come back from this altitude at Falls Creek and just fly home like he did last year, but I'm predicting that's not the case. Peter Boll for me.
I'm going to disagree with you there, and I'm going to go for Luke Matthews. He's my pick for the 800 metre men's title.
Yeah. The 1500 metres, really, it's basically, can anyone beat the little king, Ryan Gregson? He ran Nitro, then he ran over the indoor circuit in Europe. He was a finalist in Rio. Clearly the best 1500 metre runner in Australia. So, can anyone beat him? I doubt it. But the rest of the podium, there's going to be a lot of fighting to see who can take out those last couple of spots. You've got Luke Matthews. He ran the 1500 in Rio. We've got Jordan Guzman, who's been in great form. Matthew Ramsden, impressed, young gun. Adam Pike, third last year. Can he back up that performance? A lot of questions. We're hoping to get a couple of answers, and we will. Tip from you, Benny. Who do you reckon out of the rest? Who will be second?
Out of the rest. I've already backed Matthews in for the 800, so I think for this one, I'm going to say number 2 is going to be Matthew Ramsden.
Yeah.
He's had a really good season so far.
I like your style.
Onto the hurdles, the 110 metres. We've got Justin Molino, Nick Howe and Nick Andrews. They're the front runners for this event.
Yeah, I reckon it could be pretty close. My money is going to go on Nick Andrews, I think. Just a fraction of a second. There'll be nothing in it.
It'll definitely be a very close race, that's for sure.
Yeah, moving to the long hurdles, the 400 metre hurdles. Not 100% sure about this event. A couple of names to watch out for or who could be in contention. Lee Bennett, Ian Dewhurst, Adrian Sanfilippo and Connor Fry. But very wide field. Not sure if there's a real favourite for that event.
Onto the 3K steeplechase. It'll be between Nathan Percy, Ben Buckingham and James Niparis. And I'm going to back James Niparis in for the win. I think he's in good shape and I think he'll just be able to hold out the other two.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree. The men's 10k race walk is also on the track and Dane Bird Smith is the one to beat, but not a done deal with Ryden Cowley in the field set to provide some competition.
And now moving out into the field, so we've got the pole vault and then we've got the big three, Angus Armstrong, Declan Carruthers and Curtis Marshall.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Angus Armstrong's in great form, broke the New South Wales state title the other week. He's going to be my tip.
Hard to go past.
Yeah. We mentioned the long jump. In the triple jump, the names to look out for are Ben Cox, Dennis Finnegan and Dylan Johnson, but Alwyn Jones, can he retain his crown? I think he's won about 8 national titles in the triple, so you can't discount him. I reckon could be number 9.
Over in the discus, it's basically Matt Denny versus Julian Ruck.
Yeah, it should be interesting. It's really a 2-horse event.
For what it's worth, I'm putting my money on Matt Denny.
All right. Moving to the hammerthrown, I reckon Matt Denny could take that one out as well. I think he's done really well in that event recently, and I can't see anyone beating him.
In the men's javelin, I think Hamish Peacock, he's really the front runner for that event.
Yeah, he threw 84 metres the other week down in Tasmania, so definitely the one to beat.
And finally, the men's decathlon. So it'll be really good to see how Cedric Doubler goes in this event after the tough time in Rio against a really quality field.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he rebounds. I mean, decathletes don't do many decathlons, but you look at each individual event, can he improve in each of them? I hope so, and I can't see anyone beating him for the crown of Australia's best athlete.
Alright, and that's the last event on the program, so we're going to wrap it up there. We're both really looking forward to watching this event unfold over the course of the week, with juniors as well as the seniors. There's a live stream for it as well, and that'll be on Athletics Australia's website, so you can check it out and stay up to date there. This week we won't be releasing an episode as per usual, so we'll be back next weekend for our post-event analysis of the Australia National Championships.
Yeah, were we right?
And I think that just about wraps up the show. So thank you everyone for listening. You can find us on iTunes and YouTube as The Australian Runner, and check us out on Facebook and Instagram too. See you next Sunday.
See you then.